Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service today is the annual Green Sanctuary Day service. It's called Honoring the Four Elements: Fire, Air, Water, and Earth. Good morning. I'm Gretchen Locke. I'm a member of the Green Sanctuary Committee, and I'm today's lay leader. My pronouns are she and her. It's great to see you this morning. Thank you all for coming on this dreary morning. And welcome to our folks on Zoom. We welcome you to the Green Sanctuary service. Green Sanctuary is a UUA certification program for congregations to encourage environmentally sustainable practices both inside our church and in our own homes and community, and to address climate injustice through activism. Today's service will be a little different than our typical worship services. Besides many familiar elements in the service, there will be 4 short homilies offered by members of our Green Sanctuary Committee to honor the 4 elements. These will be scattered throughout the service. And the call to worship will be in a moment and will be participatory, so be ready to get up on your feet and join in. I also want to just thank the other folks who are helping with the service this morning. Kathy Kellier is our usher. Wendy Masternardi is our greeter, and coffee hosts are Martha Borkin and Mary Hildebrandt. Thanks to all of them. I have a couple of announcements. First, there will be a finance forum next Sunday after church, April 30th. Plan to attend for updates on the status of our current budget for this church year, and also to talk about our draft budget for next year and some proposed changes to our policies on authorizing purchases and other expenses. Also, please mark your calendars. CB Beal is returning on May 7th to lead worship and a workshop after worship. It's called Bodies Are Awesome. To make sure you feel invited, CB has created a video invitation. It's about 1.5 minutes. Bill will play that for us now.
I am so excited to be coming to be among you again on May 7th for the service, Bodies Are Awesome. Everyone should get one. After the service that day, we're going to have a workshop. Now, like previous workshops on bearing witness and being present with people, we're going to collectively tell stories and bear witness to them. We're also going to play games. We're going to laugh and ponder, listen and be curious. Now, most of you have attended at least one of my workshops, and you know that they're generally enjoyable, maybe even more than generally enjoyable. They're just enjoyable, right? This one is super fun. We're going to talk about ourselves, one of my favorite topics, and we're going to use creative prompts to share about being people in the world who live in bodies and have a gender. Whether our gender is man or woman, non-binary or meh, we're going to listen and explore, wonder, and laugh. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see you again. And I hope that I'll be able to see you all there on Sunday, May 7th. Okay, bye. See you soon.
And now is the time in our service when we take a good look at our beloved community and say good morning to everyone. Please turn and greet the folks around you in the sanctuary here and wave to our friends on Zoom. So, good morning. It's great to see everybody. Thanks again for joining us. I now invite Liz Meyer to come up, and we're going to go through our call to worship. She'll help us with that today.
Hello? Hello? Here we go. Good morning, everybody. I am Liz Meyer, pronouns she, her. Contrary to Gretchen, I like to say this is a silver day, so, as not a dreary day. So, we are going to start our service calling in the 4 directions. Before doing so, I would like to take a moment to honor the Massachusetts tribe that used to inhabit this land freely. I would like to thank their ancestors whose souls are in and around us and ask that they join us this morning in calling in the four directions. We appreciate and are grateful for their wisdom and guidance and respectfully ask permission to partake in their tradition of calling in the four directions with my medicine drum. And before doing so, I'm going to burn some white sage, and I will come and I will kind of waft it in your direction. And the Native Americans use this as a way to clear their energy. So I ask you to, however you want to take in that energy of the smoke in however way to give yourself more energy, to clear out what you need to clear out for today. So, and then I will use my drum to call in the four directions. And we're going to start by facing east and calling in the direction of air. Facing east, I call the element of air. We give thanks to the air that carries the oxygen that is vital for every breath. Now we're going to face south. Facing south, call in the element of fire. Fire that is essential for warmth and to burn away all the old. We're going to face west. Facing west, I call in the element of water. We give thanks to the water in our bodies that keeps us moving, bodies of water around the world that make this world so spectacular and magical. Facing north. Facing north, I call in the element of Mother Earth. We give thanks for her bountiful gifts, from the bees' honey to the protection of the trees to the majestic mountains we climb. Lastly, if you want to face the center, so we can just all face each other. Facing center, we call in on the ancestors of our past, present, and future. We ask for their wisdom and healing so we can embody in spirit, serve all for the highest good.
Thank you, Liz, and to everyone. You may be seated. Oh, I'm sorry. That was not exactly right. Now we're going to light the chalice, the symbol of our living faith. So here to light it for us is Allison Friedman, a member of our Green Sanctuary Committee, and she will lead us in our covenant, which will appear on the screen.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in the words of our covenant that you can see on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
Yes, please be seated. Today's story is Every Little Seed by Cynthia Schumerth and illustrated by Elisa Paganelli. Grandpa told Mom, and Mom told me, the secret of a plant lives in every little seed. Spring sends a warm and welcome breeze that melts the winter snow. It's time to plant our garden. Can't wait to watch it grow. Mom tills the earth as Grandpa rakes. I pull out stubborn weeds. The ground is soft and ready now, a home for all our seeds. I study every different seed, each filled with so much knowing, everything they'll ever need to keep them strong and growing. And I think about what Grandpa told Mom and Mom told me. The secret of a plant lives in every little seed. One by one and row by row, each precious seed is sown. Sun and rain will help them thrive, will tend them till they're grown. I gather up my garden tools, now scattered all about, and wonder when those tiny seeds will send out roots and sprout. Those clever seeds are busy beneath the ground unseen. Already roots are burrowing and sprouts are turning green. Soon plants stretch up and buds poke out, young tender leaves unfurl, fragrant flowers start to bloom, their sweet scents drift and swirl. And I believe what Grandpa told Mom and Mom told me, the secret of a plant lives in every little seed. Our garden bursts with signs of life, so many hungry guests. Spiders spin their silky webs, protecting plants from pests. Bees gather pollen, buzz and hum, sip nectar, warm and sweet, while flitting, floating butterflies taste flowers with their feet. Proud our garden's grown so well, we sit back to enjoy it. But then we spy invasive bugs. They'll damage and destroy it. They munch and crunch their garden lunch, turn green leaves into lace. The more we look, the more we find. Those bugs are every place. We grab 3 cans and fill them up with sticky, soapy water, then pick and plop those hungry pests. Just one last bug, I caught her. When days grow short and nights grow cold, our garden starts to thin. As summer dances out the door, fall knocks and marches in. Leaves droop and curl, bright colors fade as dried up petals fall. But left behind are all those seeds, dark specks that know it all. We search through all the withered plants and harvest every seed. When spring returns, we'll plant again. We'll rake and till and weed. Sun's light will shine, soft rains will fall. Each seed knows what to do. Our plants will grow and bloom once more, pink, yellow, red, and blue. And I won't forget what Grandpa told Mom and Mom told me. The secret of a plant lives in every little seed. The end. Thank you for your good listening, and children may now leave for RE.
Hi. So I am starting us off with our first homily, which is going to be about fire. So during the calling in the four directions, we held reverence to the elements because they are each vital and essential to our existence. But I want to take a moment to ponder each of these elements in their extreme. High winds ripping over an island destroys all in its path. Heavy rains create landslides sweeping away entire villages. Raging fires burn forest after forest. With no Mother Earth, all living things cease to exist. But from destruction comes new life, new beginnings, an opportunity to recreate. When I was thinking about what I should talk about today regarding fire, the mythological bird known as phoenix kept coming to mind. I'm sure many, if not all of you, are familiar with the stories of Harry Potter. There is a scene I remember vividly. Harry goes to visit Dumbledore in his library and witnesses Dumbledore's pet phoenix burst into flames and crumble into a heap of ash at the bottom of its cage. Dumbledore apologizes to Harry, for it must have been alarming and sad to witness the bird's demise, but assured Harry not to despair. Harry draws close to the bird's cage because he sees movement in the mound of ash and, to his delight, sees a peeking head of a phoenix hatchling. In doing a little research on this mythological creature, I found that many cultures around the world have a story of this reincarnating firebird, symbolizing rebirth, renewal, and healing. Endings are scary, as it brings us to stand at the precipice of the unknown. In this culture, many of us were raised with Christian beliefs that life is linear. We are brought into the world from the unknown only to return to it. But perhaps life is cyclical. Not one journey with a body and the name we carry now, but are gifted with multiple chances to walk this earth. Like the phoenix, we will return many times. There is no way of us knowing, but one of the most important lessons we can learn from this myth is the metaphor to carry in our daily lives. We are gifted each day thousands of moments, a gift to reinvent ourselves through shedding old ways of thinking and being and having emotional and spiritual rebirths. It is a constant cycle of shedding and healing. Life is not an easy journey. We are challenged with individual and collective hardships that greatly limit us. In a moment, we will sing a pagan fire chant. The words are, "We can rise with the fire of freedom. The truth is the fire that burns our chains. We can stop the fire of destruction. Healing is the fire running through our veins. Let's infuse our mind and body with the spirit of the phoenix to burn away the old and step into the new. UU's sixth principle is a goal to build a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. We can start small with small acts of kindness. In honor of Earth Day and our element of fire, I invite you to do 4 small acts of kindness this week that challenge your old ways of thinking and being. Thousands of small acts of kindness that will spread like wildfire of healing to bring a new world. Remember that igniting one match can light a room full of darkness." And now we will sing Fire Chant.
Please rise in body or spirit and join us in the words will appear on the screen.
I'd like to start with a poem. It's titled The Same Air by Al Zelinis. The same air that moves through me and you, through the waving branches of the bronchial tree, through veins, through the heart, the same air that fills balloons, that carries voices from lies and truths and half-truths, that holds up the wings of butterflies, hummingbirds, eagles, hang gliders, 747s. The same air that sits like a dull relative on humid lakes in Minnesota in summer. The same air, trapped in vintage champagne, in old bicycle tires, lost tennis balls. The air inside a vial, in a esophagus, in a tomb, in a pyramid. Buried beneath the sand, the same air. Inside your freezer, wrapping its cold arms around your TV dinners. The same air that supports you, that supports me. The same air that moves through us, that we move through. The same air frogs croak with, cattle bellow with, monks meditate with and on. The same air we moan with, in pleasure and in pain. The breath I'm taking now will be in China in 2 weeks. My lungs have passed an atom of oxygen that passes through the lungs of Socrates or Plato, or Buddha, or Golda Meir, or Walt Disney, or Sally Ride, or a starving child in Somalia, or certainly you. You, right here, right now. Yes, certainly you. The same air, the very same air. When I think of the element of air, one of the first things I think of is the word connection. Take a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. The air we breathe connects us. Did you know that with each breath you take in 1/25 sextillion molecules of oxygen? For those of you counting, a sextillion is 1 followed by 21 zeros. Is it possible you are breathing the same air as your favorite celebrity or athlete? Is there a chance that you are inhaling some of the same oxygen as your great-great-great-grandmother or some of the world's most famous historical figures? According to studies in theoretical physics, the answer is almost certainly 100% yes. Research indicates that the molecules we breathe are redistributed evenly in the atmosphere within a number of centuries. Studies show the mathematical probability that more than 99 out of 100 of our breaths will contain molecules from people anywhere in the world from any given time. In 1 day of breathing, you will sample at least 1 molecule of oxygen from every person who has ever lived. The very fact of our breathing changes the composition of the air everyone everywhere else is breathing. As humans, we breathe and rebreathe the same air as it moves around the earth. That in-breath of yours is the out-breath of someone else. The air we breathe is the breath of all. You bet, we're all connected. In the concept of the butterfly effect is the idea that very tiny actions can and do initiate reactions, sometimes very large reactions elsewhere in the world. The idea that a butterfly fluttering its wings somewhere in the Yucatan Peninsula can precipitate a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Whether that concept of the butterfly effect is real or not is not really the point. It indicates the notion that small acts of variations can and do result in larger changes over time. We can't always predict what or when those changes will occur. Our UU's 7th principle, for example, recognizes the independent web of all existence that we are a part of. It's our way as UUs to embrace something greater than ourselves. But it means more than just living in harmony with nature, being good stewards of the earth. If you do something as simple and benign as planting a garden in your backyard, you need to consider how it will affect the animals and creatures that inhabit the space and the space around it. Will planting a garden affect your neighbors or the greater community, both positively and negatively? How about the movement of the sun? Any shadows that will be cast on other parts of nature? What was the history of the space and how it will be used in the future? If we take the backyard garden analogy and apply it to something more significant, like coal mining, fracking, or clear-cutting a forest, you can appreciate the significance of the interdependent web. Whatever we do as individuals affects everything and everyone around us. The world is deeply connected, and small things matter. Don't undervalue the power or small acts and how they will impact the lives of others and your own. Being the change you wish to see in the world is not such a random exercise. It requires us to engage the power of intention. Just as each one of our breaths can affect those around us, so can the deliberate intention to affect change.
Every Sunday at the center of our service, we create time together, a time of quiet and peace, when each of us can connect to our highest selves and to the holy, however we understand it. Let's begin this time by closing our eyes and breathing deeply, in and out. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body relaxing. Sink into your seat and breathe. In this meditation time, we'll join together in our centering song. Then we sit for a few minutes of shared quiet. Then we'll speak to one another of our joys and sorrows, and then I'll lead a prayer. Our worship themes for April are resistance and the proposed 8th principle, which calls us to dismantle racism and other oppressions. It's time for us to reconsider our commitments towards justice. Our centering song for April is number 155 in the gray hymnal, Circle Round for Freedom. Lyrics will appear on the screen. Remain seated and join in as you like. Let the song guide you gently into our shared silence.
For all
is our tradition in worship to share with one another our joys and sorrows, the milestones of our lives. We speak and listen with care so that our sharing knits us together in love, in strength, and in community. First, if folks on Zoom have a sorrow to share today, please type it into the chat box. And Doug will help me with the reading aloud because I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. And if folks here in the room have a sorrow to speak, please come forward. You may share it with us now.
I'm not seeing any messages of concern from, so go ahead.
Yesterday, I went with my neighbor to Melrose Wakefield Hospital to visit with Tom Fagley. Tom Fagley, some of you may remember that have cooked for Bread of Life, was the founder and longtime director of Bread of Life. Currently, he's suffering from esophageal cancer with metastases to the liver, and it doesn't look like he's going to be around for very long. He will be remembered because he did a lot of good for a lot of people. We'll miss him.
I am Gail Maynard, and this, excuse me, is a candle of concern for my neighbor and friend Jane, who is having open heart surgery tomorrow.
So we do have one online concern from BKJ, Brian, candle for my mother.
Let us take a moment together to hold these sorrows together. May those who are hurting today know our love and support. May we reach out with kindness. Doug will light one candle as a beacon of care for all the sorrows spoken and unspoken today. Now I invite anyone with a joy you'd like to share. Those in the sanctuary may come forward at this time. Folks on Zoom, if you have a joy to share, please type it into the chat box, and Doug will read them for us. I'm going to sneak in a quick joy. This is for our son Duncan, who finished all of his coursework and turned in everything he needs to graduate from Northeastern. So we're very excited for him. It's been a long road. We're really, really proud of him.
Hi, I'm Martha Borkin, and we got two bits of good news this week from my son Daniel and his wife Rochelle in Brooklyn. The first is that their son Jasper, our grandson, is no longer allergic to almonds. He's still allergic to wheat and peanuts and eggs, but no almonds. And then, if all continues to go well, he will have a younger brother in October. So.
This Wednesday, I'm flying down to Dallas to see my youngest granddaughter, Sarah Howard, get married. That will be Saturday.
Good morning. I'm Cassandra. And on April 23rd, 1935, to Ernst and Amelia Bone, their second child, Eleanor Anna Bone, my mother, was born. So I want to wish my mother a happy 88th birthday.
Thank you all for sharing these joys, which help to connect us and remind us of the beauty of living. And now we'll light one candle to shine out our thanks for all the many blessings in our life.
I have one more joy, also from Brian, for his daughter April and new son-in-law Jacob.
Thank you. Now Doug will light one final candle. Our prayer today is adapted from Wheaton Franciscan sister Beatrice Hernandez's prayer. Holy, we praise you for the wonders of your creation, sun and moon, earth, stars and sky, earth and air, fire and water, north and south, east and west. We know your love through loving relationships with you and each other. We know that we are called to right relationships, contemplation and action, prayer and service. Grant us your creativity and the wisdom of your spirit to promote healing, health, wholeness, and hope in our world. Amen.
This church is a self-supporting organization funded by your generous annual pledge. You may also contribute to our weekly collection plate, which we split every month with a deserving cause. Folks on Zoom can donate either way using the orange button at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For the month of April, in honor of Earth Day, our Green Sanctuary Committee has chosen the New England Forestry Foundation in order to support its dual mission of forest preservation and promoting sustainable harvesting. Half our collection plate this month will go to the New England Forestry Foundation. This morning for our offertory selection, we'll be performing a piece by Sarah Lynch Thomason, and it's called More Waters Rising.
There are more
Hello, I'm Doug Dick, and I'm speaking about the element of water. There are countless ways that we are involved with water. It's something upon which our survival depends. In fact, our very physical being is made up of 60% water. And we know both through our education and from our own life experience that all living things need water to grow and to survive. The inspiration for my reflection today came from an experience I had a number of years ago, which occurred in a salt marsh on Cape Cod Bay. This area was in the original lands of the Nauset peoples, whose life also revived around earth and water. The water in a salt marsh is ever-changing. At low tide, the water in the marsh is a trickle of fresh water, flowing from inland springs and rivulets. At a rising mid-tide, the fresh water mixes with salt water from the sea, forming a brackish mixture, rich in nutrients that creates a perfect environment to nourish the plant and animal life that becomes the building blocks for all the life in the ocean. At high tide, the salt marsh becomes one with the sea, and life from the depths of the ocean can then interact with the land. Then the process reverses itself, and another great cycle of life on our earth has been created. One morning, after an exceedingly high evening tide, Anne and I awoke to a thrashing, splashing sound of water as the tide was ebbing from high to low. The noise turned out to be 7 dolphins that had entered the marsh when it was one with the sea during high tide, but as the water receded, the group became stranded as their path back to the bay disappeared as the water departed. Jumping forward 1 hour, a sea mammal rescue team from IFAW, the International Federation of Animal Welfare, responded to a call of stranded dolphins. Several neighbors and I found ourselves standing waist deep in water in the sandy, muddy marsh, helping as directed by the IFAW rescue team to support and calm the dolphins while keeping their bodies submerged in the shallow water to protect them from the harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun, and also trying to keep their blowholes above the water so they could breathe. We could feel the movement of their bodies and the warmth of their breath as we held them. And we held them facing each other to keep them calm, knowing that this group was all together, because dolphins are communal beings. And thankfully, through the dedication of this IFAW team, 6 or 7 of the dolphins survived. 6 out of 7 survived, were rescued, and released to be returned back to the safer depths of the Atlantic Ocean. It was as I stood with these amazing creatures that I came to realize that water was more than an essential element in the lives of we terrestrial creatures. I understood that it's also a place to live, a place to dwell. It's a whole living universe for these beautiful, communal, sentient creatures. And when our thoughtless activities diminish and foul these waters, we also diminish the entire world of these creatures. This realization helped me to see how human-centric my understanding of the world is. That water, earth, and air are their own worlds, and they're populated with their own uniquely adapted forms of life that are independent, but at the same time are so interdependent.
So I have the privilege of reading Dave Bliss's homily for Earth. David could not be here today due to a family situation. So here goes. From the Amazon River Basin to the Breakheart Reservation, forests are a critical biological habitat that need to be preserved and protected. Development of our regional, urban, and suburban lands during our lifetimes has greatly diminished our local woodlands. In 1965, a controversial proposal to transfer 60 acres from Breakheart Reservation to the newly formed vocational school district was signed into law by Governor John Volpe. A Boston Globe editorial titled "The Breakheart Land Grab" noted that even though the regional vocational school was a necessity, irreplaceably publicly owned parkland should not be taken for a school. You might know where I'm going with this. About half of the 60 acres is an upland area of forest and ledge, now known as NEMT Forest. The original school, nicknamed the VOC, was built on a lower, rather flat area of this parcel adjacent to the NEMT Forest area. However, a new VOC is now proposed at the center of the NEMT Forest, including an area designated as protected habitat for endangered species. Who, all those years ago, would have imagined a 5-story, 380,000 square foot school building on top of that hill? Who can imagine today that on land that was once part of Breakheart Reservation, we are going to clear nearly 15 acres, remove 2,000 mature trees, and tons of rock ledge? And all this destruction of habitat can be avoided by constructing a similarly sized building with the same program elements adjacent to the existing building. The land is available. We can save the forest and build a new VOC. In his book, Nature's Best Hope, Professor Douglas Tallamy witnessed that habitat fragmentation in suburban areas due to land development over the last 60-plus years is significantly contributing to species extinction. He states, "We now live in a world in which habitat, places that provide both food and shelter for plants and animals, is so fragmented, and these fragments are so isolated from one another that they are hemorrhaging species at an alarming rate." I believe Professor Tallamy would agree that the value of the NEMT forest as an intact ecosystem connected between Breakheart Reservation and other parkland in Wakefield far outweighs the environmental cost we will bear if the site is developed. Time is running out for the NEMT forest, and construction is close at hand. To learn more, please go to nemtforest.org, where you can show your support by signing a petition, making a donation, or joining in multiple weekly demonstrations against the siting for this project. And I will add my own words to this homily in that listening to Eric speak about air and connectivity, I want to say that this land and forest and water are all part of the connectivity that we need to preserve. And thank you for your time.
That concludes our homilies for our service today. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home, in the teal hymnal. It's number 1064. The words will be on the screen behind me.
Standing on these mountains and plains,
Please remain standing. I'd like to just thank all of our guest musicians today. You've really enriched our service. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. And now please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our service is ended. Please enjoy a brief postlude from Tom and Eric before gathering for coffee hour in Parish Hall. Friends on Zoom, if you'd like to stay for a chat, please click to join a breakout room. Thank you for worshiping with us today. Happy Sunday and happy Earth Day.